Hey everyone, Hans here, hope everyone's doing well. Today I wanted to make a video about what you might call a sick attitude that still somehow prevails until now in the white positive sphere, and I wanted to mention something about it because there needs to be talk about such. Also to talk a bit about I'm gonna begin with this. In the white positive sphere, among people that I consider my friends, I hear a lot of talk about every couple should have many children because that is how we're going to perpetuate our people. And I think to myself, well, actually not only think it, I also say it, it's yeah and no. Yes and no. Of course, yes, the birth of many new children to continue a people has to be there. End of story. However, something seems to be missing there in that statement, which it usually is. And that is that, what about raising them right? You know, a child doesn't pop out of the womb ready to partake, you know. They're still in need of guidance. They still need to grow. Physically, mentally, spiritually. Why aren't we talking more about that with one another? There are some who do, I'm certain of it. I just have not come across too many of them yet. Rather, I see those who think it is okay to basically commit physical violence onto our children to keep them in line, if you will, which is atrocious. Usually that manifests itself in households where they follow non-white religions, where they follow political ideology above all else, yet have little to no care for our people itself. Basically, they're in the white positive sphere, but they're not white positive. They're just looking for people, I suppose, that are have the same genetics, but then expect those people to also be these drones, as they want their children to be, because it suits them. It suits their attempt to perpetuate whatever religion or political ideology it is. It's really more about perpetuating that than actually perpetuating our biospirit, our people's natural way of behavior, which has been, it has been hurt for centuries now. Every new generation, and by extent of these pathogens, born from these foreign ways of thinking that have nothing to do with our people, some come to the conclusion that it is then okay that we mistreat our children in the same way that other peoples mistreat their children, or maybe for other peoples that is normal. That is not for me to decide. Every race is responsible for itself. I just partake in being responsible for mine. Anyone else is free to do what they see fit with their own, as far as I see it. But yeah, so then when a white child exhibits behavior, manifests behavior that comes from, that inner biospirit, which for us means it tends to mean, let's say, being wild, being adventurous. That's typically us. And in that wild, adventurous behavior, minus then all the experience that an adult would have, minus the lessons, immorality, minus knowing much about how a noble ancestor behaves. Yeah, the treatment of the child that then in that adventurous bout may spill milk, break a window, sometimes just gets tired and tosses a tantrum. these people who gave birth to that white child, they get frustrated because the child is behaving like a white child and not like whatever, ideological or religious drone these parents want to perpetuate, wants to keep existent, that mindset. And to the particularly immoral, to the particularly low IQ, to the particularly lazy, the particularly cowardly, who are supposed to take care of these children, they tend to go to threats of physical violence or the physical violence itself. Basically batter these children into line. To me, that is a hostage situation. Because what can the child do back? Might shout back, but then only gets hit more, right? And definitely cannot physically defend itself. And yeah, then you end up with the society we live in today, as I see it. I mean, and look at the state of things. Look what a mess. So can we please start thinking about raising our children right? Find ways to go about it. And at the very minimum, point out what is unacceptable. I think the two main evils, if you will, to use that term, evil, the two main evils in raising children today is that they are there, born to perpetuate ideology or religion, and at the same time, the second evil attached to the first one is that perpetuating, that it's all about mindsets and what have you, foreign mindsets, that at the same time children are pulled away from their true nature. White children pulled away from their true nature. If we can at minimum put a stop to that, some way, somehow, raise our children to be better than that, I think a lot of misery in the world might be resolved in a generation's time. I truly do believe that. It only makes sense to me. Raise them right. Keep their young minds clear from all these poisonous ways of thinking, from all the brainwashing. And that in and of itself would do a lot already. And then on top encourage just our nature, but you need to understand who we are to begin with that. And that is something that a lot of millennials, a lot of Gen Z, I suppose they're called, the older Gen Z, are not mature enough yet for, or simply do not know. It would be nice that our children would be able to grow up as independent, strong individuals that can work together with their kinsmen for a better tomorrow. Rather than be these walking wrecks that need fixing. Or I suppose just mindless drones, or a combination of both. Whatever your preference is of looking at it. I think it's both actually, for most. And then to me it doesn't matter if you have a couple that has 2 children raised in a healthy way, or 20. Whatever is just possible. It needs to be possible. Let's see. I brought some notes. I might have already addressed some in the notes, but I wanted to make sure that I cover everything for now, because it is important. It is an important topic to me, but also just in general, I would argue. Yeah. Also, something else beyond passing on ideology of this or that kind is the passing on of blame. And this is something why a lot of younger people today are frustrated with boomers, the Gen Xers. I definitely have had my share of self-serving Gen Xers in the last few months. You know who you are, scum. Who, yeah, they will run away from their own responsibilities towards their people and then leave younger folk to clean up the mess. While they, go on to their chewed out mottos that mean nothing, that are just hollow. Usually it's just so they themselves as individuals can get all the attention or money that they are doing it for in the first place. And not care a whit for the future of their own children or grandchildren. So let alone then the younger generation in general, those that they are not directly related to. Yeah. The perpetuation of that blame is, it turns into what we call white guilt, that which the anti-white puts upon us. That it is all white people's fault, particularly the young, who were born in this world, who were born in these societies that have gone to crap before they were born, that it all gets put on them, is the most hideous thing, I believe, that elders in the span of, let's say, 4 generations have ever done unto their young in who knows how long. Maybe this also happened, right before Rome fell. The Roman Empire fell, I should say. Maybe this also happened right before these Hellenic states in, what is today non-white territory, I suppose. When they fell. Maybe it also happened then. Who knows? Just this spoiled, rotten, selfish. You know what? And I don't want to blame the entire older generations. It's just unfortunately very common. We have to understand that. And to all those of these older generations that do mean well, that have been doing the right thing all along, thank you. Thank you with all my heart. And I'm sorry that you were with too few. But it's okay. Younger generation has plenty of people who are going to do the right thing. So your efforts, they might just have paid off in ways that the younger generation doesn't even understand. I include myself in that. Maybe I do not know what good has been done before that affects me. If it so is, I can still be thankful for that, and I will. But then it's important for the younger generations to also stop blaming the young. Look at yourself. What are you doing that makes things better? And if you're doing things that makes things worse, have the spine to admit that and then stop doing it. Maybe do the reverse. Or at the very minimum, stop it. Live a healthier life, a better life, more noble. And teach that to our children, that they should do the same if they want to live satisfactory lives. But please let us bear in mind that we cannot, under any circumstance, I would argue, allow this to happen anymore. Not even for the grand scheme of things in the end. That we're all going to have like streets with like 50 statues of of the people in that street that did the right thing and the moment of truth came, when the moment of truth came. No, just about saving that one life, making that one life a better quality. That means the world, or it does to me. I make these videos for that one person who is listening, and if, you know, plus that one person, there may be, I've got what, 205 subscribers now that I am allowed to see by YouTube. If there's 200 people, you know, yeah, there's 205 people. Let's say that one guy I'm doing it for, that one girl, and there's 204 people that are also listening. You're bonus to me in the sense of I'm happy you're listening too. The one person would be enough for me. In that way, maybe that's a little aside though, when YouTube then pretends that I only have 200 subscribers, you know, pulls down messages that I get in the comment section, brings down the numbers of views underneath my videos, well, I'm still happy. I'm still happy because I'm doing something that matters to a minimum one person. That counts. If we all start thinking like that, what is really going to bring us down at that point? I mean, I have a friend, I'm not gonna name him. He says that his channel is small and it may not mean much to what he says, but his channel is like 10 times bigger than me. It's like, do it for that one person. And those other 1,999 or so people, consider them the bonus who are also listening. And acting, doing the right thing. It's not just about listening, of course. That is where it begins. And then you even still, like I always say, block out what you think is good and leave what you think is bad. 100% agreement isn't required, so long as the motivation is to do right by our people. We can all do it in our own ways, but we have to also see that when certain ways are being, when certain paths are being trodden, yeah, when it's riddled with traps, when it's riddled with spikes, what have you, then find another one. Or go through the woods. Maybe that's what we should be doing. That's where our people belongs anyways, in the best possible sense as one can think of. Yeah. I think I've kinda said all I wanted to say. I suppose I have been raising children myself too, and they, how shall one put it, my entire, since they were born, we're speaking about, no, I'm not going to give an exact number, we're speaking about half a decade, let's go with that, half a decade. I've been looking after these children, been playing with them, and sometimes they throw a tantrum, sometimes they do something naughty, what have you. Not once in my life have I ever thought, oh, now I need, it's like, my hands are required now. No. For example, I understand that when a child is being wild, is that, yeah, that's, you know, that's that little animal that lives in all of us. Just that beast of the wilds, if you will. Which is who we are. You know, that's fine. That's a good thing. If you can control it. That is what children haven't learned yet. That is what you, as a decent parent, or as someone who looks after them, can do, can show them. Example is, for one of these children that I had to look out for spilled milk on the ground on purpose. Because the child was tired, angry, didn't want to do what I said, which was drink your milk. We're gonna go sit in the couch or what have you. Well, you know, it was just, you know, child was tired, needed sleep. But the child didn't want to sleep, wanted to stay up, wanted to play, and got frustrated, and then just milk all over the floor. Bam! And then I said, okay, well, guess we're gonna have to clean that up now, don't we? And of course the child says, no! No, we're not gonna clean that up. I'm not doing that. You do it. And then I said it the second time. And again, no! No! Rah! Child goes, sits down on the floor. Moping. And then I say, oh well, you know, we're gonna keep standing here until that milk is cleaned up. Or you can sit there. I can wait. And it took 10 minutes. Something like that. Because this is what I did. Nothing more than that. It's just, okay, we're gonna stay here until the milk is cleaned up. You let me know when. I'll let the child decide. And the child, quickly gets bored. Does everything to stay awake as well. Gets a little bit more frustrated. And in the end though, child gets up, grabs the cloth that we have for cleaning the floor, and then I help, and we both clean it up. And afterwards I say, well done, good job. Now let's go to the couch. Now we went to the couch, and 2 minutes later the child was asleep. But there are these people out there, if that's what you can call them, who find that when that same situation happens, they will slap the child until it does what they want. Or threaten. Make themselves super big. Whoa, I'm bigger than you, child. What are you gonna do? Horrible. Pathetic. Speaks a lot about, how these people, their IQ range may be about the same as their shoe size. But yet I see in the white positive sphere here and there that it is allowed to be spread like that. And what can I say? It's these children will live unhappy lives, will have no respect, no moral respect for such people, because here's the thing, these children will go in two directions. They will think that is how you should behave, so they become little tyrants that will prey on their own people, or they become, they are these golden children, just golden hearts, through and through, who will grow up, they will come to despise their parents for that behavior. Either way, it doesn't seem like the best move for a healthier people, I would argue. I guess that's predominantly what I wanted to get at. We want quality. I would say our people has always been about quality. Mother Europe, as a natural environment, leaves little room for low quality individuals. If you are creative enough, if you can work together with others, if you are at the same time though independent enough of mind, then you can survive those cold winters. Others might not. Or, like I said, you see this a lot in these particularly religious, these Abrahamic circles. You see a lot of tyranny in my eyes. That is definitely what I would call it. Where they are absolutely useless. They will start calling themselves priest, king, vice president, well, not just the religious actually, now that I think about it. Just all these artificial names to put themselves above others, basically. Names that should mean nothing, that mean nothing to a healthy individual, in my eyes. And then have to force others to ensure that these useless individuals survive. Sound familiar? Rings a bell? Can we raise our children to be better than that? We can. But we have to fix ourselves. Or the current generation that is of the age to become parents should not become parents before they have resolved most of their personal issues, which means their morality, their spirituality, their physicality, and then also to truly have the empathy to love their own people. It all does matter. It truly does. As far as spirituality goes, and this is, I cannot say it enough, it is about our ancestors. It is about our people. That should stand, that has to be central in our spirituality. Taking another people's religion or their, like some offshoot sect of another people's religion, it doesn't matter how much of our people you put in there. At its foundation, it is not us. And should be tossed in the garbage. That part. What is us can be kept. And that is a discussion that is being kept silent in the white positive sphere for far too long already. Because it still makes too many uncomfortable. They're going to have to make too many changes in their personal lives. It's going to have to confront them with their own misbehavior. But guess what? It has to stop somewhere. And people are going to have to start making some damn serious calls there too. If you truly love your people, then only your people should matter. No? And for these clowns who say that they love their people, but also that religion or that ideology or people can only function via this and via that. No, those are just weak excuses so they can perpetuate whatever it is that has been shoved in their heads, and they just, are unwilling or incapable of getting out. Either way, if it is damaging to our people, what else can you say but that these people are parasites that want to leech of our healthy members, participants? And do you think we can afford to have those people around? I'm uncertain about that. Those who refuse to see that our people has its own ancestors, its own gods, and living ancestors included. Your grandfather, your grandma, your mom, your dad. Those are living ancestors, They count. And the ones that have passed away, the ones who are still in your memory, that you might have known. And then come those who you have never known, but are still part of your people, that through them has life been given to you. Their talents you inherited. Isn't that something to at least be moderately thankful for? Rather than basically fall on your knees and worship another people because whatever. Because it's more socially acceptable in this sick society. Or just to spit on them and become empty. To have a vacuum where your soul should be, I suppose. But I guess I'm going into topics that are, that I can make videos about in and of themselves too. But yeah, I think I've given some food for thought for some. I hope so. It is important, and yeah, you take what you think is good out of it and you leave the rest. But I think as a closing statement, I would argue, if we keep messing up as we've been messing up for the last 100 years, the last 200 years, the last 300 years, there's gonna come a point where Mother Nature itself may even decide that, you know what, I've had it. I've damned had it. Just gonna clean the damn board already. Because that people who loves me no longer. Those ancestors, I argue, who do in some way, however you want to look at it, still touch us, still do right by us, what some might call watch over us, may at some point decide, you know what, now it's been enough. Let's end the final chapter. And it will be the fault of the living. So, be more noble yourself. And where you see that which is ignoble behavior being pushed and promoted, speak out against it instantly. Isn't that some lesson that is attributed to Odin? Speak out against evil immediately and give no pause to, well, give no pause to anti-whites, let's call it that. Well, even if they are charlatans who claim to appreciate that deity. Actually, those may be the first ones, among others, that should be called out. But what have you? I have to close it off now. I could go on, but it is what it is. You all have a good one, think about it, and hopefully act on it too. You all have a good one, and bye-bye.